us any new information that you have since
Hello.
last hearing?
How you doing? I'm Brian Grislack. This is my wife, Melissa Grislack. And this is 20 Rahway Road is where we're living. And just to reiterate, we're looking to put a small covered porch on the front of our house. But it goes into the setback from the property line a couple feet. So you should have all the paperwork and we have a plot plan there, the survey, as well as the sheets that show the proposed construction that we're gonna do to put the porch on.
And I can see from, sorry to interrupt you, Brian, I can see from yours that you're holding in your hand, they didn't print properly. I have printed out copies that show the full page, if you'd like my version, I'm not sure.
Better than this?
Better than that, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sort of.
Thank you. Okay, it's 5 sheets, but you can see here it has the whole grid on it,
Thank you.
so.
You.
So the last time we were here, you wanted us to go over the hardship that necessitates why we would have to have a covered porch as opposed to something else. So on our side of the street, we actually have the full sun side of the street. So in the winter, we have the ice and snow melting. We've gotten a new roof and had our gutters fixed, but it still ends up pouring on those front steps. So that was the main idea behind why we wanted to have a roof over fixing our steps. Our steps have crumbled. We have to replace them no matter what. But we thought it would be a good idea to get a porch out there. And also, we have my elderly in-laws who both live in Burlington, and they come over all the time. And so we were getting a handrail installed so that they could get into the house. And the main thing is that we wanted a safe way to get into the house for them. There's only 2 entrances in and out of the house. The back door is through a porch that we keep locked, and it's also through the backyard, so it's just not convenient for people to use. So our main entrance is that front door.
There's no path to it.
There's no path to it. You'd have to go through the backyard. So with that, the main thing is we want to have a safe, solid entrance for people to use to get into the house that is covered so that the snow and ice isn't building up on the front steps, because that's actually what destroyed the front steps to begin with, was all that ice buildup, and between rock salt and rain, it took out the, slate steps that we have there.
But even more importantly, would be to mention the fact that we've had people, our children, our parents, standing on those front steps attempting to get into our house, and we've had ice fall off, and we've had like multiple near misses where they've almost been hit on the head, and it's just something that we're constantly dealing with.
Okay, any questions from the board? Mike, we'll start with you.
No, I don't have anything.
John?
No, I'm good. Thank you for coming back with the new plans.
Thank you for having us.
I have no
Mark?
no objection.
Charles?
So you have 20.5 feet from your property line. Do you know how much further the grass or land extends past that 20-foot mark? So basically in Burlington, every road is built to be, I think, 40 feet wide or something. It's only paved partial of that, so the town actually owns the front of your land. Do you know how much there is at all from there? Have you,
Between the road and the rock wall,
between the road and, yeah, your lot line?
there's, in mowing it many times, it's maybe 6 feet or so.
It's a good space. Pass that down.
Yeah, it looks like the retaining wall's on the property line, pretty close.
It's a good space between.
So you'd have about 26 and a half feet or so of actual grass?
I've seen it, I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only question I have at the moment.
No. You got it.
Brenda?
I have no questions, thank you.
Jim?
I think I'm good.
All right, the only question I have, comment, I guess for now is, so, on the porch, and, I heard what you're saying about the ice and everything coming down on the front steps, which, I can understand the hardship there. Can you maybe just get into a little more depth of the reasoning for having to have the porch be 18 feet wide? Like, what's the necessity there?
That was mainly centering it on the house and just having, a little space that we could have for a chair or two.
You can see from the picture that you have there of our front house, that the house was originally just a small four-room ranch. And then the previous owners prior to us put an addition of the second floor on, and then previous owners prior to us put the addition off to the right. So we thought if we were gonna put some money into putting steps there, and that if they were gonna be aesthetically pleasing, we consulted with a professional who said, you really want it to be a little bit centered on the house. We weren't looking to get anything grand or go the whole length of the house, but we just wanted it not to look strange when you're standing, like, curb appeal.
And in the plans, there's a bow window right there next to the door, so it would go from the edge of the door to the edge of, the outer edge of that bow window. And that was the idea, to center it on the house with that.
And you said that the railing that shows on just the one side of the door on this elevation, that's just, the only reason that's there is just to help with your elderly parents?
Yeah, they're having sorry.
Yeah, they struggled to get in and out of the house, and so, yeah, because it's only 2 steps, so technically it's not required to have that there, but we wanted to put that in, even just for us to get in and out of the house.
Okay. Like I said, I can definitely, see the issue with, the covering the door. The extension of the porch is a little bit of a stretch in my mind, but I think not having the railing there, the way that this is drawn on here, also kind of minimizes the impact of the appearance. So that's a step in the right direction there, in my mind. But, those are my comments for now. But I'll open this up to the public, see if anyone else has any comments, and then we'll take more comments from the board and see if we have a decision. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Yeah. Come to the microphone and introduce yourselves.
Good evening. My name is Melissa O'Dowd, and I live at 19 Railway Road, so I live diagonally across the street from Melissa and Brian. And I'm here tonight in support of them. I've seen their plans. I feel like the porch that they'd like to add to the front of their house is aesthetically pleasing. It's not ostentatious or anything too large for their house, and I think it would add a lot of curb appeal on the street. So I'm in support of them and their project.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? No?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Anyone else have any more comments?
I do have a question, or I guess a comment, I don't know. With the bay window on the front, if you were to shrink that farmer's porch down, all right, to just the doorway, would you have to, like, move that bow window?
I would think so,
Absolutely.
yeah. Just to have
I
the,
think it wouldn't be possible.
yeah.
Okay. right, that's my only question.
Anybody else?
Nope, I'm all set. I like the way the porch is set in front of the house now. I think it looks great.
All right, if anyone has a motion they'd like to make?
Make a motion to approve the variance in accordance with the plans that we usually,
If there's a plan number and a date, I'll reference it, so. Plan,
6/29/18.
yeah, sheets 1 through 5, as submitted.
Second.
All right, motion is made and seconded to approve the, I'm gonna amend your motion to add the dimension there. To approve the front setback for 20 Railway Road to a 20.5 setback for the front porch as shown on the architectural drawings dated 6/29/18, sheets 1 through 5 as submitted, and the plot plan dated September 26, 2018 as submitted. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is 18 Carroll Ave. Brenda, can you read that into the record for us, please?
Sure will. The petition of David and Judith McGann for property located at 18 Carroll Avenue, as shown on map 23, parcel 140 of the Burlington Assessor's Map. The applicant is seeking a variance to construct an in-law apartment on the left side of the existing house. The proposed addition shows 11.3 feet, and the town of Burlington's bylaws requires side setbacks to be 15 feet. Article 5, section 5.2.0. As shown on plans filed on November 19th, 2018, and a copy of which is on file with the town clerk's office.
If you could introduce yourselves and give us a description of your proposal?
Yes, I'm David McGann, my wife Judy McGann. Our proposal is to build an in-law apartment in our present house. Our goal is to have my son and his family move in with us. My wife and I would live in the in-law apartment. The issue is on the in-law, the addition that goes within the setback. At the closest point, it's 11.3 feet from the property line. The required 15 feet. I have a copy of the plot plan and a letter of appeal, if you'd like to see that.
We've got copies of
You
that
have all that?
already,
Okay.
yeah. Just before we get started, do you, by any chance, have any architectural renderings? Like what the house would look like when it's completed?
No, we don't.
No,
This-
okay.
The ones we should have read.
We don't have it with you. I'm sorry, we don't have it with us, no.
Okay, all right, that's,
It wouldn't exceed the height of the present house.
okay. All right, Jim, why don't we start with you? You have any questions?
I don't at this point, no.
Okay. Brenda?
No, I do not.
Charles?
With the addition, it looks like you have a couple of feet up in the front that it could be pushed up, possibly I'm sorry, it looks like there's a couple of feet in the front that the addition could be pushed up to the front closer. And it looks like you might have some more space. To maybe reduce the variance or remove it completely, looking at this correctly? Or maybe back, either way.
This is the street. You might be looking at, so we've got plenty of room
Carroll Ave is at the
front.
top.
It's kind of confusing the way it's configured on the plot plan. Kind of looks backwards, but Carroll Ave that's the front of our house.
Okay.
The the thing is, if the house had been built square on the property, we probably wouldn't need a variance. We'd be okay, but it's, as you can see, it's askew on the property. So building that addition, the farther back you go, the further it goes into that setback.
Okay. I don't have any other questions at the moment.
Mark?
So, I know you don't have the building plans, but if you were to shorten up on the addition, would that make you fall within the setback? In other words, it looks like it's, the way the house is askew, that existing addition is forcing you into the setback. Is there any point at which you have 15 feet without going that far back?
Looking at the plans, we didn't want to build anything grandiose, but big enough,
Right,
because there's only gonna be a few rooms.
It's 3 rooms.
So my wife and I are moving from having the whole house to, having 3 rooms
right, right.
and a bathroom. So we want to make the rooms at least a decent size.
Sure.
Not too big. So we realized the problem that this was causing, that the fact it was going into the setback, but to pull back, so it's within the setback, would really make the addition really tiny.
Too small, right?
Yeah, because you can see the red line, Bailey, but the red line here is showing you how small it would be. But just asking for a kitchen and a bedroom and a closet and a bathroom.
So the hardship that you're claiming is that the existing structure is, as you say, askew,
Right.
meaning that it is off-center.
Well, it's plenty big for us right now, and there's a few reasons. It's very important to us that our kids stay in Burlington. Our daughter has homes in Burlington, which we're very happy about, and we want the opportunity for my son to live in Burlington as well. And don't have to tell anybody, but house prices have just gone through the roof in Burlington. So also, we could use the help with maintaining the home.
Sure.
I'm not 21 anymore, and I do have some health issues. So it would be great help to myself and my wife to have my son, younger man in the house, who's handy to help keep things up the way, we want to keep the house up. It's just becoming more difficult every year.
I have nothing further at this time.
John?
I just want to go back to what Charles was talking about. So the square footage of the building that you have on the side of the house, that's only 3 rooms, so you need all that space there. But if you were to take that whole thing and move it 3 feet forward towards the street, my plot plan that I'm looking at shows you have 38 feet. So it sounds to me like you have plenty of room to move it. I don't know what the layout is yet or anything.
Yeah.
But I'm asking if that could be moved 3-4 feet forward to the street, then you may not even need the variance. Like they're talking about, where's that point where that 11.3 turns into 15? You might have the room just move it forward, and then you could do what you want to get this size.
We're putting a 2-car garage on in the front. Does it show that? I'm not sure.
No, but that doesn't,
I
yeah,
guess,
so it could be 3 feet closer to the street, that's all. I don't know why it couldn't be moved forward. And then you wouldn't even need to come to this board for a variance.
I don't know if moving it forward would actually, would do it, just 3 feet.
I don't know what the number is either, but there's gotta be, it shows that you're 38 feet from the street. So that means you can move it, 13 feet forward, actually, if you wanted to, So we gotta figure out where that line is that brings that to 15 feet and then see if that's feasible for you. You might not even have to be here.
Right.
Maybe that plan would work for you. I think it's appropriate that we at least look at it and see,
so to
Plus,
keep
I
it-
would think that, at least for myself, I would want to see those plans that show it all done, And then if you do decide that you're gonna have to move it, then you wouldn't have to do anything, of course, you know, if you come up with that 15 feet. But I'm not saying no, but I think that that's important to get that information for me.
Mike?
I don't have anything.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of go back to, you know, a little bit of what John was saying. I definitely would want to see the building plan to see, you know, why you need this type of space. At face value, when I look at this on the plot plan, and I heard your arguments, I'm not saying that, but it looks like a large addition, just flat on the plot plan. And I understand what you're saying for, you know, the need of the space, but we need to see those plans to be able to kind of make a determination on that. So that's gonna be one part of it, to see what you're gonna have there and why you need it. And to see if there would be an alternative to not encroach on the setback. So that's one thing there. And another thing on this, and I know you mentioned the location of the dwelling, but what we need to consider, just to reiterate, is a hardship. The hardship that we need to consider for is for the land or the structure. So I know you mentioned, you know, how the building was situated on the lot, which gets you to a certain point, I think. So I think, you know, I don't really want to use the word justifying the size of the addition, but just us knowing what is really going to be in that addition, and like how tall it's going to be, what it's going to look like for the appearance for the neighbors, can go a long way to us making a determination on this.
Well, as I said, the height would not change, the height of the house, the roof line.
Okay.
So it will be the same height, be no increase in that. The neighbor that would be most affected with it, that's closest to the actual in-law apartment. Actually, the owner doesn't live in this country, he rents. And the front of the house faces Robert Street. It's not facing our house. So I think it would have really a minimal or no impact on the neighborhood, on the neighbors.
Do you, by any chance, know what his setback off your lot line is, how far away he is?
I don't have the measurements, no.
Okay.
I know he's closer to Robert Street. He has a good size backyard.
All right, yeah.
And just speaking on those points there, that house is pretty far towards Robert Street, and there is some sort of a natural buffer zone between the two houses. The shrubberies there. What about that big tree that's in the
It's in
middle?
our front yard? That
Yeah,
has to be
remove it.
removed.
So that tree would be coming down?
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, I'd like to investigate, see whether or not you could move it forward, and then not even come here for the variance at all. It's still better to have you do what you can without making it a non-conforming lot, if you can do it. And then if you can't, then we'll, you know, help with the relief as we see fit, the best we can, you know?
All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this? Come up to the microphone, introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you. My name is David McGann Jr. I'm the father of the family that will be moving in, hopefully with this addition. I first of all just wanted to make a couple of clarifications regarding what plans we have. We do have architectural floor plans that have been stamped. I have them electronically. I could email them to the board if necessary. What we don't have are elevation drawings yet, and that was at the request of the architect. He said that there is no point in proceeding with our elevation drawings until we have the variance approved. So we do have a drawing that depicts the room layout, the garage, all of that. I don't know if it was requested and I'll bring it to this hearing, otherwise I think we could have had it printed up. But again, I do have it on a PDF. I can email it to whoever needs to see it, or we can have it printed out. That being said, the fact that we did bring an architect on board, that was one of the first things we tried to do, was avoid a variance. I'm not sure of the calculation he had to do to figure out the angle at the point the house would no longer be encroaching on that setback. But that was something we originally tried to do from the beginning. So I could certainly have him maybe comment on that, but I know we did have a professional try to see if he could make the math work and bring the house forward. So I just wanted to mention that if it's of any value. Secondly, I just prepared a brief statement if I'm allowed to read it.
Sure.
And I'd be happy to distribute this as well, if anyone needs it, I did bring copies. But it basically says, "Dear members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, this letter is to help explain the reasons why my family has requested the zoning variance for the above address. First, I would like to make it clear that this is not an addition for profit on resale. Our intention is to make this our permanent residence. My parents have resided in this home for almost 42 years and have meticulously maintained it in that time. Instead, this variance is to allow for my parents to remain on a single level to accommodate their advancing age, with my family there to help in that care. In addition, this allows my family to remain in the town I grew up in, and both myself, my wife, and my daughter love. Second, this town has been nothing short of amazing and caring for my disabled son, and although I cannot disclose the law details by state law, I feel a debt to those who made sure that he was able to get the care he needs in the special education board. He may also someday be able to come home, and if he does, we will need the room to support that. Lastly, as you have read, this variance is a matter of approximately 4 feet at its closest point on only one side, tapering down to just inches at the rear side of the dwelling. This tapering is due to a surveying error at its construction, leaving the home at an angle to the property boundaries, a fact that only came to light years ago when a neighbor had a survey done while also requesting a variance my parents did not object to. If not for the surveying error, there would be well within setback on all 4 sides. Hopefully, the board will see this meets the criteria to allow the variance, and our neighbors see this as a mutually positive project for both our family and the neighborhood. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Mike?
Would you be able to expand on the surveying error or provide details on when that came up and the details of what
I believe
changed?
my dad maybe will speak better to it. I believe it was early to mid-1990s when the property behind us on Susan Ave requested a variance from the town. Looking at the plot of land and the house, it would look to be square to the house. He had a survey done, and we at that point found out that actually his land extended 8 feet into my parents' backyard, at which point he had it resurveyed, had a fence put up. We still did not object to the variance, and he constructed a house in what was formerly a garden back there. That's when it came to light to my parents that the original documents that they had of the house were not accurate. It was resurveyed, and as you can see from the plot plan, the house is sitting not square to the plot, like the other homes on the street do.
Those were on the year 2000, I believe.
Mind if I ask a
Yeah,
question?
go ahead.
Do you happen to have a copy of that older plot plan? Anywhere? No? If we can-
Oh, we have all this stuff at home somewhere. Anyways, what happened was, we lost that 8 feet in our backyard, and we gained 8 feet on the side of our house. Not that side, but the other side. So we can't allow them, which is now owned by Beverly Vidoli, to put a fence up either, because that would take away from our land. So we have a whole piece of fence in the person next door's backyard. So it really has created lots of problems, because originally we had wanted to put a garage on, and their house is actually cut off, their garage is actually on our land at the edge, just because of the slant. It's a mess.
And, sorry, this is, their garage is on your land on
Right at the edge
the
of our
opposite
property
side?
line.
On the opposite side that you're requesting the variance for?
Right.
Yes, yeah, at number 20.
And because this all happened, they had to go all the way back to Mill Street and do from Mill Street, Thomas, Carroll to Susan, to allow Susan to have that house put up. We weren't fighting it, because I always knew they had that extra lot of land for their son, for when, so that he could help his mother out. And we thought that was a good thing. But it's kind of caused a lot of problems, because we didn't have the land that we thought we had. So that's why we're choosing to put the garage on the other side, because it's needed in New England.
So, just to clarify, and if you have any kind of documentation on that you could send into the board, that would be helpful. If not, we can look into it a little bit ourselves too. But just to clarify, so you said you gained 8 feet you lost 8 feet on the rear, and you gained 8 feet on the side that's opposite of where you're requesting the variance.
My house
Yeah,
to the right.
To the right.
We haven't got any plans in our possession, to my knowledge, but,
Do you know if there was any land lost on the side that you're requesting the variance? Did that line move at all? Are you aware of?
Well, we
I
have
don't believe
rocks
so, no,
there.
we had 8 feet, actually, we had 8 feet that we took care of for many years. You know, mowed the lawn, you know, cut trees down, everything, and a plot plan was done, certified plot plan, and realized that it belonged to the neighbor behind me. So we lost that land, so
And we had
Like we
lived
don't-
there over 20 years, so we were grandfathered in if we wanted to create a stink, you know?
Yeah.
My husband's father did a plot plan for us when we were buying the house, and he says it's an absolute mess. There's nothing accurate, and he was a surveyor, so.
So by losing the 8 feet in the back and gaining the 8 feet on the side, it kind of skewed the plot a little bit to not square?
yeah, if you look at Carroll Ave, if you hit the bottom of the street, if you look at it, goes to have a kind of an angle at the end, and that messes up everyone's property line. And so everything's at kind of an angle. So that's why a house appeared in a plot plan is skewed like that, and why we're here with the issue with the setback, because again, if my house is squarely on the lot, reason to ask for variance would be okay.
All right, does anyone else have any questions right now? All right, I think a couple of the members, including myself, had expressed interest we'd like to see the floor plans. So I think we'll probably continue this to our next hearing, and if you could provide us with that, and if there's, I know you said you don't have elevations yet, but maybe talk to your architect, and even if he could just give us like, maybe just a sketch of the roof line and the addition. It doesn't have to be full-blown. I know, you don't want to spend money on something that you might not build, but just, with you encroaching on the setback, I'd like to just kind of confirm the height and be able to document that if you were granted the variance, that you can't go over a certain height, that type of thing. So if we had some kind of plan for something like that, that would be beneficial, and it would help us make our determination.
It's a Cape house right now, and it would be just changing probably to a colonial with the bedroom over the two-car garage.
Full shed dormer on both ends. We have a full shed dormer on the back and the regular Cape front with the two smaller dormers. There'll be a full shed dormer in the front as well. That'll be the only change to the main house
Okay,
exterior. But like I said, the roof line would not change.
okay. All right, so yeah, if you could, oh, sure, go ahead.
I would ask that you do speak to the architect, and if he could either say something or explain why the building couldn't be moved forward for that. As long as we have it, and it's legit, then that's cool.
Yeah, would you need a statement form? Would you rather them here in person if possible?
That doesn't
Yeah,
matter. I'm just
I think
looking,
an
I'm just
email.
looking to find out why if this can't be moved forward for any reason.
Right.
If it can be, then that's something to think about and talk about. If it can't be, that'd be better for you,
Yeah.
But that's information I think is important, that's all.
Yeah, that's fine. So my takeaway is that you want a rough elevation drawing, at least, of the proposed addition, reason why it cannot be moved or reason it can be moved. And then I already have the floor plans I can submit.
Yeah.
At any time.
Yeah, that'll help us take a closer look at it. All right, anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue to January 15th.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to continue 18 Carroll Ave to our next meeting of January 15th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. All right, thank you. We'll see you on the 15th.
Okay.
All right, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Second?
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes from our December 4th meeting, 2018. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.